Hey folks, T-Buzz here, and as I always say, there's a very high degree of risk involved in trading. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Now, in my opinion, if you do your own due diligence and you study everything that you hear, you're going to find out you become a better trader. Always remember, it's up to you to do that due diligence. Now, let's talk about what I call a MTI Option Bullet. First of all, MTI is a algo that I created to help people decide whether to be long, short, or out in the market. And it's real easy to use because if you're above the 8 lines that it puts out there, you want to be long. If you're below those 8 lines, you want to be short. And in between, you got some choices. But the Option Bullet is taking the power of MTI and spreading it over 5 different tickers that are set up and are timely. And we have the tools that give you those 5 tickers. So it's pretty nice. It's not a short-term thing. It's usually over the next 15 to 45 days. We look at both a long-term approach and a short-term basis, and we try to have a marriage between the two for market timing. If you look at the following examples, the first thing that you notice is 2 sets of these lines. The shorter-term MTI white lines are clearly identified on a chart, and the longer-term lines are yellow/green. And like I said, if you're above those lines, be thinking up. In this case, it was Apple, and Apple's turned from negative to positive this year. It's a great example of how long to milk a stock like Apple. It's real simple. Above the 4 lines, look to go long. Below the 4 lines, we look to go short. Then we look over to the short term, and above the white lines, we go long. Below the white lines, we go short when they match up with the long-term short. That's the way you use it. Very simple, easy rules to follow. And if you find the stock in between the MT lines on the long-term short, you probably should stay out and let it resolve itself, wait for a better entry, and find a better stock to trade. So how does all this work? Well, MTI by DTI indicator can be loaded on your Thinkorswim platform from Schwab. Takes less than 5 minutes to load. Even those people, what I call, or the type people like myself, wasn't born with a mouse in your hand. It's easy to follow with the video that we got. You can be up and running in 5 minutes. Then you're ready to check any ticker you have in your portfolio, whether you should be in that ticker or out of that ticker, or maybe even buying more of that ticker. The questions come up. How do you find tickers that pay? Well, the way I do it is through what we call the MTI scan feature, which will quickly identify stocks that qualify for going higher and stocks that qualify for going lower. So if the market's going lower, you want to look at the low side of this. If the market's going higher, you want to go to the long algo. Very simply organized from a strategic basis and allow you to tactically enter these trades in a timely manner. Now, the MTI scan, you can add any watch list there. It helps you quickly identify. Above all lines are green, below all 4 they're red. If there's no color there, that's a stay out. Very simple to read. I have this on my computer that I look at a glance every day on the stocks that I want to follow. I let the market determine direction, one of my cardinal rules that I follow, specifically the 7 sisters. That's where I look across the globe to get the way money is flowing. They answer that most important question is whether to be long, whether to be short, or out of the market. Every trader needs to answer that question. You know, a lot of people got a lot of theories on how to place orders and stops and all that. Unless you get the direction right, I've never seen anything really work consistently. Direction is very important. Wall Street says you can't do it. Get MTI by DTI. You'll be better than anybody you're talking to, I promise, because it is really an eye-opening experience. Now, here's an example of what a long looks like. You take the stock, you look at it, and you say to yourself, wow, I see what you're talking about. It's going higher. And you got some background statistics to know just how high and where it should go. Of course, you use this to go into options. Here's an example of what a short looks like. Again, it recognizes things. Even general market. Y'all remember back in 2022? Well, on the fourth day of the year, everything had turned below those lines, and guess what happened next in 2022? Market fell out of bed for the next 7 to 8 months. Wouldn't you like to have MTI working for you then? Now, here's an example of stay out looks like, in between, all mixed up. Go to another ticker that fits. The picture tells you everything you need to know about MTI by DTI. The next thing I introduced was the MTI Option Bullet. After using the program for over a year, I said, we can use this. We're only scratching the surface. I started thinking about a unique strategy that we can tie in with MTI by DTI. I call it my MTI Option Bullet. The strategy is to find 5 tickers that qualify with active options to position yourself for a monthly goal on options of 20 to 30% profit of the money you put out there. Pretty aggressive. But first, use the scanner to find the tickers that qualify. Once the ticker's identified, I develop a spreadsheet for key information, where I'm going to get into these tickers, what expiration date I'm going to use, the option details, whether it's a spread or outright long, the price I'm going to pay, my first target, my second target, put the orders in good to cancel, and let it work. That's the process. I enter up to 5 trades over a period of 48 hours unless they hit what I call the all bets off number, then I cancel that particular portion. If any stock triggers, I aim to find an option that costs about $1 to enter. So if all 5 triggered, I'd have about $500 of risk on the trade using a 1 contract basis. $1, 5 different times. Now, it's a real simple approach when it comes to exiting. Either you will hit the target, or you hit your all bets off number, or if you stay in these options for about 72 hours is about the general time you need to stay in them to hit your targets. The reason we do this is because options are different than stock. They have an expiration date. They spoil on you. A lot of people forget that when they're playing options. Even with the expirations that are longer dated, I found that after 72 hours, you should know where you stand and whether you're making money or not, and maybe the trade might be a dud. Maybe it's not a good one. It's always better to take a small loss than a big one. The time rule keeps you honest with yourself, whether you've done the right thing. So 72 hours are a line in the sand. We'll step aside if things are not going well and we have to punt. There'll be other trades, one of the next 10,000 that we're going to do for another set. I always tell my students, when you hear a strategy, use due diligence to educate yourself and understand the risks involved before putting real money on the line. Due diligence on your part will save you a lot of heartburn to make sure you understand everything you're doing in the market. This is an example of using my knowledge to put the odds in your favor, and as I always say, I'll see you on the flip side.